Hello, church. This is Keith Fair, pastor for Faith Formation and Discipleship at St. Matthew Lutheran Church in York, Pennsylvania, part of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. And this is the Bible study video for the upcoming 11th Sunday after Pentecost, August 16th, 2020. The scripture that we're going to be looking at today is from Matthew. Again, it is chapter 15, verses 21 through 28. I'll read that for you now. And I'll be sharing the New Revised Standard Version of the Bible. Jesus left that place and went away to the district of Tyre and Sidon. Just then a Canaanite woman from that region came out and started shouting, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is tormented by a demon." But he did not answer her at all. And his disciples came and urged him, saying, "Send her away, for she keeps shouting after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." He answered, "It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "Woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish." And her daughter was healed instantly. Now, I'll just say right up front, there is no doubt this is a tough passage. Now, we love the ending. That makes us feel all warm and fuzzy, but the beginning, and especially the middle, don't always sit well with us and our typical perceptions of Jesus and his manner of interacting with people and how he treats people. We would expect this kind of behavior from his disciples. They consistently demonstrate this boneheaded, not quite getting Jesus and his mission of boundless grace and mercy behavior. But they are also the same people that have only just begun to name Jesus as the Son of God after seeing him walk on water. We just read that passage last week. And they are not going to acknowledge him as the Messiah until the next chapter of Matthew's Gospel, chapter 16. But where is Jesus' grace and mercy now as he seemingly reluctantly greets this woman who has come to him to beg for healing for her daughter, very much like has happened to Jesus countless times throughout Matthew's account? Jesus is far outside the boundaries of Israel at this point. The city of Tyre is on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, north of the Sea of Galilee, the region that Jesus, is most familiar with in this part of Matthew's Gospel. It's north of that by a good 35 or 40 miles. And to Sidon is, again, about half that, even farther. Now, there would still have been quite a few Jews living in this region, but it's no surprise that there are quite a number of non-Jews or Gentiles as well. And we Gentiles are a mixed bag in Matthew's account, no surprise. Some of the Gentiles, that Jesus encounters, he greets immediately as peers. He treats them as people and not as problems. For example, there is a centurion, an officer in the Roman military in chapter 8, who comes to Jesus begging for his servant to be healed. Very much like the woman that comes to Jesus today. And Jesus is very responsive to that individual and even lifts him up as an example of faith. He says, I have not seen such faith in all of Israel as he's seen in this Gentile. And yet, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says things like this: "If you greet your brothers and sisters only, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same?" Obviously, meant as a chastisement. He also goes on in another place to say, "When you are praying, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do. For they think that they will be heard because of their many words." And yet, again, Later on in Matthew's gospel, we have a very famous passage of this parable of the sheep and the goats that Matthew shares in chapter 25. And one of the tiny little details at the beginning of that story that we sometimes miss is that when the judge sits down to judge the peoples, it says that he is judging the nations, which is another word for the Gentiles. The nations being those that are not of the nation of Israel, the people of Israel. And some of those Gentiles are considered sheep, good examples of faith, and some are goats, not good examples of faith. And at the very end of Matthew's gospel, Jesus will send the disciples to make disciples of all nations. Again, that word nations is another word for Gentiles. Now, there is so much that this woman seemingly does right in greeting Jesus. She says to him, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David." So she appeals to his well-reported preference to show mercy to those in need. She calls him Lord, an appellation for someone in authority, in Jesus's case, his authority as a rabbi. And she refers to him as the Son of David, another address of Jewish royalty. And she kneels before him, again a sign that she defers to him as a king. And Jesus is a descendant of King David, well documented in Matthew chapter 1 in the very detailed genealogy that Matthew includes there. And that same genealogy includes 3 Canaanite women as Jesus' ancestors: Rahab, Tamar, and Ruth. All Canaanite women, just like this mother that is coming pleading to him today. And yet Jesus is initially cold to her, and perhaps even rude. Am I wrong? Or did the Son of God call this woman a dog? The scene is kind of set like a musical at the beginning. Actually, it's like you've got the baritone chorus, the disciples on one side, and this alto soloist, the Canaanite mother, on the other, with the lead male tenor, Jesus, in the center, being pulled back and forth between these two groups through the first couple of verses of this song. And there's a great irony, whether it's intended or not by Matthew, who knows, that just prior to this passage, Jesus had been disparaging some of the so-called religious practices of some of the Pharisees. And then he launches into this rant-like teaching to the crowds about how defilement doesn't come from outside ourselves, from things that we do or don't do, but from within, from what we think and what we feel, and how that informs our actions. And that's very much in keeping with where this story winds up, with boundaries and worthiness and cleanliness and defilement being redefined from conventional norms to include this woman who is an outsider and her vulnerable child. Woman, great is your faith, are Jesus' sending words to her. A pretty uncommon designation in Matthew. Let it be done for you as you wish. And the daughter is healed instantly. So that's at least some of the background. I'll see where that goes as we explore it more in the sermon for this coming Sunday. Just a reminder, too, that next week, August 19th, a week from this Wednesday Bible video release, we're going to start not only continuing to release these videos, but also have online discussions about the upcoming preaching scripture for the week. Those will be handled via Zoom, and those links will be distributed sometime yet this week. There will be 2 sessions on Wednesday, August 19th at 10 a.m. and at 7 p.m. That you'd be welcome to join one or the other, or both, if you would really like to discuss these in an online discussion Bible study format. So, hope to see you on those links as well. Thanks for tuning in, and until Sunday and beyond, be safe and God bless.